member for Spadina Fort York.
Thank you very much. You know, we all agree in this House that there's a need to build housing. You know, and the 1.5 million. Do you think it's necessary to undermine our municipal democracies in order to build that housing?
Quick response, 50 seconds.
Thank you, the member for the Spadina and Fort York. And yes, this is still we have to get things moving, and so many projects is got delayed by the red tape and bureaucracy. I think the proposed legislation is going to give you a lot of hope to bring the 1.5 million home within 10 years. That is a great message. That is a good news story for the Ontarian and our neighborhood in the country. Thank you very much.
Further debate? I recognize the member for Toronto Centre.
Thank you very much, Speaker, and it is an honor to rise to speak on this bill. Not happy about speaking on it, but I'm happy to speak on behalf of the people of Toronto Centre, my home community. Speaker, Bill 39 is obviously a recent bill. It's just dropped as of yesterday. It was again dropped into the House without any announcement, without any prior notification, certainly not to the voters who went to the polls only in June to vote for the provincial election, and certainly there was no notification during the municipal election that just took place in this province. So it's a bit of a surprise that we are here again. And what is this bill about? It has a very, it's got a fancy title. It is called the Better Municipal Governance, Bill 39. Sounds lofty enough. I like it. Upon closer inspection, what is it? It actually works in an axis. And the axis that it works on is 3 bills. Bill 3, the Strong Mayor's Bill. Bill 23, which is before a committee today, and it might be pulled and it might go back to committee. It's unclear how far the consultation will go, but that's the government's so-called housing bill. And then we have now Bill 39, as I mentioned, dropped as of yesterday. The 3 of them come together almost like the axis of evil. And interestingly enough, I had a conversation with a couple of developers who are in my community for ribbon cutting. And when the Strong Mayor's Bill came out, they said to me, that's just the beginning. There's going to be more. And you're not going to like it, unfortunately, but it's going to bode well for the industry. We even think it goes too far, but we're not going to say no, because it's a free gift to us. I am speaking in verbatim, but it's pretty darn close to what was said to me. And I couldn't at that time get it out from them what was coming next. Now that I see it all put together, all 3 of these bills work together in harmony to do what? To build housing, as the government claims, to build 1.5 million homes over 10 years? No, it doesn't. You wish, because if it did, in that bill, in those bills, you would have opportunities for funding. You would stipulate how much money the government is going to put into those bills to build the 1.5 million homes over 10 years. You would talk about the type of reforms that are needed to actually make those homes affordable. None of that is contained in the bill. So I'm going to get back to that in a bit, but I do want to speak about Bill 39. I'm going to focus most of my comments on Bill 39. So we know that it was a surprise. We know that it was crafted in the back rooms, in a secret deal, without any consultation with the voters of Ontario. We know that even members of the House are surprised by the bill. I heard that. I didn't know it was coming. Did you know? I'm standing in the elevator waiting with everybody else. Okay, it's here. So, interestingly enough, we also know it's anti-democratic. It undermines local democracy. But worse than that, it actually blows up local government. You might as well just be a terrorist, run in with a bomb, and just blow it up. Because you're saying you don't need it anymore. So, did someone just say true? Oh, okay. Now, I recognize that people do run on platforms, and for sure, we just went through a vigorous debate. Voter turnout was low. We all know that. We need to do better in making sure that our citizens are engaged and that they trust the democratic process. that they trust the institutions and they trust their elected officials. But how can they trust their elected official when this happens time and time and time again? It really is hard to explain to voters why they should care when they put their voice and their vote and their trust in their elected officials. They cast their vote, they go through voter education, and then we tell them days later that, no, just joking. We're going to take away your councillor's voice because now the mayor of Toronto doesn't need a majority vote anymore. Actually, he can rule by minority vote. He can rule by super minority vote with just 1/3 of the vote. There is not a democratic institution or house anywhere in this country that you can actually pass laws, create programs and services for your community with 1/3 of the vote. That is such an affront to democracy. And the fact that the members of the House and this government is so proud of what they're doing and hiding behind this guise of housing, it's mind-blowingly it's mind-blowing. I'll stop there, Speaker, thank you. And I apologize if I'm getting worked up, but I care so deeply about the democratic institutions of this government, of this country. People have fought with their lives to make sure that we have the rights and freedoms here. And look what is happening. It is absolutely shameful. And what do we hear the newspapers saying about this new surprise legislation? Here's a title from the Toronto Star. The Strong Mayor legislation is a shameful act committed by shameless people. So, it's not strong mayor powers anymore, it's strong man powers. It's a disembowelment of Toronto's local democracy. It's close to a dictatorship, akin to a dictatorship, similar to a dictatorship. Bill 3, as we know, was passed to create a veto for the mayor to override council. Bill 39 takes away all of that, and it actually just overrides council and local communities. Residents are now asking, do we still go to our councillor? Do we go to our mayor? Where do we stand in all of this? Residents, not just in my community of Toronto Centre, but in Toronto, in Ottawa, and coming soon to a town and a city near you. So I want to focus on this because it's so critically important that we don't lose sight of what really matters and what counts. And I cannot imagine for the life of me, what is the purpose of Bill 39? Why on earth that this government would pass such a bill and even dare propose it? Like, why not do that in this house? There's standing order paper. Why not just change the rules here? You only need 1/3. Pass whatever bill you want, whatever law you want. Yeah, you like that? Start smiling? It's a joke, isn't it? It's not a joke. Our democratic institutions mean everything. It's what defines us as Canadians, is who we are. It distinguishes us from North Korea, Iran, Iraq, and other totalitarian states. I'm going to share with you some comments from local councillors in Toronto. And I think that it's important that they're heard in this house. You may think that they're not important, but they certainly are. From one councillor, Doug Ford's Bill 39, Better Municipal Government Act 2022, released earlier today, threatens democracy in our city by allowing the mayor to propose and pass bylaws with the support of only 1/3 of council. If passed, this act would make Toronto and Ottawa the only legislative bodies in our country that don't require 50 plus 1% to make a vote to make a decision. The Premier, as well as the Prime Minister himself, have one vote in their respective legislatures and require a majority of members to pass any bill, including Bill 39. In other words, in a democracy, the majority rules and the minority is heard. The proposed changes undermine the basic tenets of democracy itself. The province's stated reason for this legislation is to change zoning around transit stations. This is demonstrably absurd. First, City Council has already approved moving forward with increased densities around major transit station areas to conform to the provincial direction earlier this year. Second, the province already has completed authority to change Toronto's zoning. However, it wishes through the Planning Act. If Doug Ford wants to build housing, he can do so without.
Sorry, just a reminder to the member that we are not using full names, the member or the premier.
I'll just replace Doug Ford and replace his premier. I'm calling on Mayor Tory to stand on behalf of the residents of Toronto and demand that our local democracy is protected. The Mayor of Toronto should be the leader of our city, not a servant of Queen's Park. Torontonians just democratically elected their city council. They will not stand for minority rule. That came from Councillor Josh Matlow, Toronto St. Paul's. Alejandra Bravo, brand new city councillor. She represents the great riding of Davenport. This is what she had to share. This is a new councillor, and there's a few more. The people of Toronto just elected 25 representatives. Last night we learned from the Mayor of Toronto and the Premier of Ontario that they believe only 8 of those voices matter. They elected 25. The Mayor went to not Doug Ford, to the Premier, to ask for the power to set policy and funding decisions without the support of 2/3 of council. There is no precedent for this in this undemocratic move. It would mean the end of government decision-making by majority rule. The time to propose and debate a change like this would have been before the election. The people of Toronto were not informed. They had not heard about this fundamental change in how we were going to govern our city. She finishes, local government is built on collaboration and trust. There's that word trust again. I urge the Mayor to rescind this request to Premier Ford. Jamal Myers, smart, capable new councillor in Scarborough. This is his statement. Ontarians deserve a place to call home. The city deserves a place to call home. That being said, we cannot trade away our local democracy for the sake of convenience. To be clear, Toronto is in a housing crisis, and I strongly support all reasonable tools to end it. However, allowing for the passage of bylaws with a vote of only 9 members of council, that's 8 plus the mayor, is not the way to do it. It is particularly disappointing that the mayor requested this power while making no mention of it during the campaign. For all these reasons, I strongly urge the mayor to reconsider his request. Asma Malik, she just wants to represent the riding of Medina Fort York. This is her statement.
Member, but if you wouldn't mind, I believe your cell phone may be buzzing. Thank you.
Asma Malik. This is her statement on Bill 39. Allowing for approval of new bylaws by only 1/3 of members of council is fundamentally undemocratic. From boardrooms to parliament to Queen's Park itself, having decisions made with less than a majority is out of the question. Premier Ford's Bill 39 isn't about housing, it's a clear attack on local democracy. I'm disheartened at Mayor Tory's request for his overreaching power. I'm also concerned that this request was made in private, without any prior discussion in public or consultation or conversation with city councilors. We have a new city council ready to work and do so collaboratively to deliver on our local shared priorities. The mayor can work with us. We can protect our local democracy, build more housing, and strengthen our community voices. There is a better way. I urge the mayor to reconsider this request. This bill is about blowing up local government. It's about undermining the voices of the community, and as I mentioned, they weren't in sync with Bill 3 and Bill 23. So I'm going to come back to Bill 23 because I think we need to talk about that as well because we're going to connect them all together now. There's all sorts of claims about this being a housing issue, and then now I've heard, of course, that, where are the newcomers going to go, where are the immigrants going to live, and now I'm hearing a new narrative that pits citizens of Toronto, citizens of Ontario, with potential new people coming in. These are false statements. that make no sense whatsoever, because no one is putting a fence around our city or any other city, as I can tell. People have the freedom to go as they choose, and if the settlement service organizations wanted such a bill, whether it's Bill 39, Bill 23, or Bill 3, they would have certainly asked for it. I did not hear a single settlement service saying that we needed to give the mayors of Toronto and Ottawa strong powers to build housing for them. I didn't hear that. I never heard a single newcomer settlement agency talk about stripping away the protections of the wetlands, undoing the authorities of the conservation authorities. I've never heard a single settlement service talking about undermining local city council where only 1/3 of vote gets you a law passed. Many people are fleeing countries that are run in such a manner. And yet they're coming here, and this is how we roll up the mat to welcome them. And worst of all is that you're doing it in their name. You are saying you're doing it for them. I'm telling you right now, I don't think so. If you can find me a single settlement service and a single immigration service, a single newcomer who says that this is what's going to build them housing, give them access to opportunities, give them access to rights of citizenship and access to a sense of belonging by giving the mayor of Toronto more power, you bring them to me. I would like to be convinced that I'm wrong. So the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing likes to patronize Toronto a lot. And lately I think he's saying a lot of things about how every municipality is mired in red tape. Somehow municipalities have a monopoly on red tape. And he does this from his seat in Brockville. And he likes to talk about, and the member likes to talk about how, it's so inefficient there. Look at how they do things over there. But if I can fix it, let's fix it this way. And this is his solution. What he always seems to ignore is that a city like Toronto continues to lead in the Crane Index, an index that's been around for decades. And Toronto has led in the Crane Index since 2015. We have over 251 cranes working on construction projects in our city. You didn't do it. City Council did it. This far outdistances the second place crane index in Los Angeles, which had 51. So compare ours, 252 to Los Angeles, second place to 51. The city of Toronto's population growth is on track because we've already met and exceeded the urban growth strategy, a place to grow, growth plan for the greater Golden Horseshoe. And yes, there's always room for improvement, absolutely. But there's not a single instrument in this bill, or Bill 23, or Bill 3, that guarantees that the housing is to be built, and nor that it will be affordable. What you're doing is deregulating land use planning, and you're stripping away development charges, you're actually cutting taxes, and you're shifting all that responsibility and growth onto the municipalities themselves. AMO, who tried so hard to be heard by this government, actually had a lot to say. And I had a chance to tune into their sort of impromptu submission to anybody who would pipe in this afternoon at 12:30. The media was there, the NDP caucus was there, and I suspect there was other opposition. I didn't see a single government house member there whose name I recognize on the screen. What did AMO have to say? Let's see. AMO reminded us that growth pays for growth. AMO said that the preliminary analysis of Bill 23 indicates that there will be a transfer of up to $1 billion a year in costs from private sector developers to property taxpayers without any likelihood of improved housing affordability. You know that they're just an advocacy think tank, right? That's what they do. They look at policy, they respond to policy. That's what AMO does, and they're usually, they're pretty tame. But if you read their submission, they're anything but tame. They're hot under the collar. They're so ripe and angry, even if they're wearing very nice suits. They're telling you right now, this is going to be a disaster for municipalities. You're going to bankrupt them. You are going to erode life and livability for your own residents, because your residents live in cities. Every one of us live in some type of city, town, hamlet. And that's what they're saying, is that the bill provision designed to reduce environmental protection and developers in the short term with costs to the public and homeowners that cannot be calculated. You're on a course to disaster. I'm going to really recommend that you think long and hard over the next few days, over the next few weeks, of how you want to proceed with Bill 39, Bill 23. They should be withdrawn. And while you're at it, get rid of Bill 3. Thank you.
That's